So used to, I would do videos where I would show off invasions where I played really well, and maybe won because I played really well, or I'd show off an invasion where I played really well and lost, and I would show you why I lost. And then I kind of got into the habit of showing off the invasions and just sort of like putting a little summary at the end of them to sort of show you, all the things that led up to a victory or a loss, that kind of thing. I've decided to play around with that format a little today, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys an invasion, and the first time you see it, as it's happening, we'll take a look at things I did and what I tried to capitalize on, and then after we see that, I'll let you see the invasion, how it actually played out, with no, me drawing attention to anything, like no slow motion or screenshots or anything like that. It'll just be like pretty standard stuff. So right off the bat, as I invade, I see another invaders here, which means dried fingers immediately. So the first thing I do is like come back and check and see what's up with my fellow invader here. And if I'm not mistaken, that's Sir Grey Fox. That's his level 50-ish build. So Black Knight Great Axe, right off the bat, is the one that scares me the most. Not necessarily because it does ass boats of damage, it does, but because it also has the longest hit stun. Also, if I'm not mistaken, it's one of the... that thing will just straight up wreck your poise. Like, that is not a weapon I want to trade with. Next on that list is the Ultra Great Sword, and then the Halberd. I'm a little more comfortable making those trades with this particular character with a great sword, because I know my poise will get me through at least one swing. Now in an invasion, poise is a little more difficult to judge because you're constantly getting hit. Like right there, I took a little bit of that Millwood axe, but I was still able to poise through. Now you see me taking a drink right here, even though I haven't lost a lot of health. That's because all three of these weapons combined are going to do a shit ton of damage, and they can take me from 100 to 0 real quick. Now, this is something people ask about a lot on stream, is the weapon art on the Moonlight Greatsword, the Moonlight Vortex. This is what it's for. It's for making a trade. If the Leo Ring worked with magic damage, yeah, that would be bonkers, but it doesn't. But as a result, you can see one hit. Look at the trade we made. I took that guy down to half health, and look how much health I lost. Now here I see my partner. He's been dealing with this 2v1 for a second, so I come over here to kind of give him some respite, even if it's just for a moment. I break up the 2v1 and I'll take it for a minute. Now my partner is playing really well, so I've got that going for me, but it's still important that I give him a break when I can. Now I'm going to replay what we just watched, because I'd like you to watch my stamina consumption here, the usage of my stamina. I'm really bad about not paying attention to my stamina, but in this particular little clip right there, I did a really good job of watching my stamina and avoiding two big weapons while still being able to, get some damage in with my Moonlight Greatsword. Here I make a mistake. I swing into the hyper armor of an Ultra Greatsword, and as a result, you can see those guys damn near killed me. Now, however, it got that guy really thirsty, and so again, we use the Moonlight Vortex to trade against someone who wants to run into me. Now, at this point, my teammate here, like I said, if I'm not mistaken, that's Sir Grey Fox. He's killed the Great Axe. I've just killed the Halberd, or I'm sorry, I've just killed the Ultra Great Sword. Now all that's left is the Halberd. So what ensues is this nice little chase down here. Now, he's using the Millwood axe, which is actually pretty clever, because the little stompy meme run that it does can disrupt someone from running, which is nice. The axe itself does pretty good damage. You can see I've switched to the Aquamarine Dagger, which is an excellent chase down weapon for this build because of that transformed move set. Also, I loved this weapon. I made a video about this weapon a long time ago. This is one of the closest things to a Bloodborne weapon that you can have in Dark Souls 3, and as a result, I just absolutely love this thing. If you want to be like absolute, meta slave, you can just use this dagger when you're one-on-one against a poise weapon, and so long as you're always attacking before your opponent, before their hyper armor kicks in, you can make it very difficult for a hyper armor weapon to do much against this thing. That same goes with any dagger, really, but on an intelligence build, obviously this is the one you want to use for the style points. Here, he manages to clip him. For whatever reason, this charged R2, the stomp right there, fucks up the host, and he gets just absolutely hammered, which leaves him wide open for the kill. Very well played. We were able to sort of... It's like herding cats, but we found a way to do it. So, now that you've seen how it plays out, I'd like to just replay it again, and this time, you know, this is how it actually plays out, you know what I mean? You gotta kind of be able to slow down invasions, if that makes sense. You need to be able to see, like, each moment for what it is. You might have seen there, I was wearing the obscuring ring. It's always a good idea to start the invasion off wearing it, because one, you never know where you're gonna spawn in relation to your opponents, and you always want to be the one who sees them first. You want to lay eyes on them first. Now once that happens, you know, go ahead, go into your inventory and swap to whichever ring you'd like to use. But that obscuring ring to start off an invasion, that's almost always a good idea. Again, we saw the hyper armor through the halberd. That's why I wasn't too worried about going one-on-one versus the halberd. I knew I could poise through a lot of what it was going to do, whereas the other two weapons were a little more scary. Being able to break away from the 2v1s and let my partner do that, you know, like take turns doing 2v1s, that was a huge help. Otherwise, what ends up happening is you end up needing to use the enemies in the area to your advantage. But because I had a really good teammate, I was able to let him deal with the 2v1 part of the time, and then I could deal with it part of the time. That way, neither of us was having to deal with a constant 3v1, which is just, you know, so much more difficult. And you can't do a 3v1 and stand still and just fight in one area. Fortunately, it didn't come to that, which was awesome. But again, the stamina management right here in this little segment was so well done. I fuck this up a lot. This is one of the things that I'll screw up a lot, is I'll overextend myself and my stamina usage, especially with greatsword and ultra greatsword characters. So I was pretty proud of that one. But that's just practice. Just knowing you have to take your time, and you're not going to win the invasion in 2 or 3 hits. So take your time, do things meticulously. The big burst damage that a lot of streamers are so big on. You gotta do burst damage. Burst damage works when it's time to kill somebody, but it's not always time to kill somebody. And then from here, working with your partner on the chase down. This is one of those things where, you know what I mean? Like, it could have... There's really no making it easier in this sort of situation. Even though I have a partner, it doesn't make it any easier than if I had just been a solo host at this point, because we're constantly having to watch out for each other. We do a very good job of doing that, don't get me wrong, but that's so much mental gymnastics you're having to do. Okay, you know, is he done swinging? Should I start swinging now? That kind of thing. And this is one of those things that'll really fucking get on your nerves, because it's like the host and the Phantoms just watched 2 players beat 3. They just saw it happen. It just went down. They were there. I know they saw it. Why on earth does this guy just immediately go to the non-stop rolls? You know what I mean? It's like, it can be done. 1 person can beat 2 people. You know what I mean? Being outnumbered does not mean you necessarily automatically lose. But these people just have it stuck in their fucking heads, and they're so bad when they do this. And it's not that the player's necessarily always bad or anything. It's just that mindset you have to break yourself of. You can win against multiple opponents. It can be done. You see what I did there? Later, y'all. Good levels, and I would like to also be, you know, invading in those areas as well.
And today was the day you learned. And today was the day you learned as well.